Hello and welcome back to Raising the Bar with Dr. O. We have an amazing guest today, Mr. Blake Saunders, who is an energy producer, also known as Blake the Brain. So I'm excited to get to know more about energy producing, his background, and we're just going to have a good talk. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. O. I'm here. We on this show, Raising the Bar. Let's go. Let's raise the bar.
So you have a lot of energy and a big personality. So talk to me about you as a child. What did that look like? Because the teacher in me always thinks, what did this look like in the classroom?
I think me as a child, the funny thing about it, I actually think about that. I always think about, because I love kids. And when I see kids, just in general, like where I live across the street from a school. And I always see kids and I always say, and I see them, their personalities, and I think, how was I? And I always think, well, how's this kid going to be when they're an adult? And sometimes you can see it. And I try to think back to when, my personality. I think I was probably a little bit quiet as a kid, probably a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I think I was always a young kid who loved fun. Yeah. I loved energy. And then I think as I started to grow, I think, believe it or not, I think my energy and personality came from just my positive thinking. I think I love positivity. I absolutely love positivity. And I think enjoy. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of like what God put in me. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of been rocking that train and rocking that wave. And I think, looking back, so definitely thinking back to middle school and high school. I know you said as a kid, but middle school and high school is when I definitely developed that personality for sure.
And what did that look like? Was that the class clown? Was that the person who was just always engaged in conversation? So in middle school, because I'm a former middle school leader.
Gotcha.
And high school teacher. So what did that look like in those ages, that 11, 12?
Absolutely. Definitely a class clown. I was a class clown. I got a class clown for senior superlatives in high school. Definitely got it for that. But in middle school, I think it was the same. Mm-hmm. Like I love people. Mm-hmm. I love just interacting with folks and probably it was a little bit, I probably was definitely getting in trouble. I'm pretty sure for talking too much.
Once in a while.
Absolutely. One time my high school teacher, it was me and my best friend, and it was math. I love math. And my teacher, me and my best friend used to always talk in math class, whatever. And my teacher said, look, I know you guys are talking, and I know you know the math, but you have to chill out a little bit because you're good at math, but your best friend might not be as good as math as you are, right? And that was just in math. But other courses, I might not have been as fluent in it, maybe, such as English or social studies. So I think that was probably my defense mechanism of probably just talking, maybe because I wasn't into whatever we was talking about. And that's a whole different, therapy session, but we'll save that for a whole nother time. But looking back at it, I think that's probably what helped. Pros and cons, develop his personality.
Absolutely. Yes. And at what point did you realize that you have this special talent? Because sometimes as a kid, you're not always realizing it's a talent, right? You think this is just what I'm doing at the time. When did you realize it was a talent, and how did you start to hone this talent of being able to respond to energy and produce it?
Yeah. Always say that. I say now as an adult, God is always talking to you. Mm-hmm. You just got to know how to hear and how to listen and when he's talking to you. So I can remember 2 very specific times when I knew something was being jolted in me. I was in 3rd grade. First time I was in 3rd grade. First time I seen Stuart Scott. May he rest in peace. I don't know if you know who Stuart Scott is. But Stuart Scott was a sports anchor on ESPN and Sports Center. And he was the first one. Like you see sports and just news in general, how everybody has a personality using slang words and all that stuff. He was the first one to do it. So I was a little, in 3rd grade, little Section 8 kid, you know what I mean? Growing up in the hood on West Side. And I remember seeing him, he was using slang. I was like, what? I want to be like that guy. But he was, it was in sports. It wasn't seen. So what I looked at that as like, he would created his own lane by still being himself. And ever since then, in 3rd grade, I said, I want to do something to create something that's going to be me, authentically me, but have some swag to it, create my own lane. Then when I got to high school, I remember 9th grade year, Jamar Jeffers and this guy named Chuck, it was the pep rally. I was a freshman in high school. I'm like, let's go to the pep rally already. And they were hosting that pep rally. I tell Jamar to this day, and he ended up going to Delaware State. He's a doctor now, and we see each other from time to time. I say, I thank you, because when I see him hosting a pep rally, I said, I want to do that. That was the second time that jolt was talking to me. I didn't know it at the time, but I felt it. Like I still can feel it to this day. That was my purpose. Third grade, that was my purpose. And it kind of came together and kind of interjected themselves to kind of what I am right now, which is an energy producer. So, you know, I went to school for broadcast journalism at Delaware State University. Go State. So shout out to all my cameras. Shout out to Del State out there. You know, we bleed red. But kind of getting into that space, and it kind of just transitioned over. I mean, we could probably dive into it, to me kind of being an energy producer.
Let's dive into it.
All right, where you want to go? Let's go.
Dive.
Let's go.
You know, because it's an untraditional career path.
Yes.
So what did that look like? What did it consist of? Is there a clear pathway to it, or do you just kind of figure it out?
Well, I think, you know, I tell people all the time, I have always been someone who doesn't believe in doing what the world tells you to do. I think do what's inside of you to do. I think it's been put inside you. Always, you know, equated to the X-Men, or, you know, like Marvel or whatever. Everybody, like, you know, it's a superhero. Everybody has their or the mutants. Everybody has their special powers, and everyone's different. Same thing with us, right? We all have our own superpowers, right? Our human superpowers. Just work within that. So for me, I've always been, I'm gonna go do what I want to go do. I don't believe in conventional thinking, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I do believe in, like, you don't recreate the wheel, right? But we do recreate how we use the wheel. You can be different with it, right? But I'm not trying to recreate the wheel. But that doesn't mean that I need to put this wheel, you know, on a car. I can use this wheel as a swing at the playground. You know, I can use this wheel. You've seen it in the gym to get fit, right? It's so many different ways you can use that same tool. So that's how I kind of look at life. Like, you know, it's you got information out here. You got so much. I mean, you know, dive into that. But I kind of believe in just, you know, following my own path and creating my own lane, which started from third grade. Steve Store Scott. He created a lane that's always been in my brain. Like, you can create your own lane. You know what I mean? Create your own lane and go down that lane. You know what I mean? And just try to create and try to pivot and learn and grow, which kind of led to me having an unconventional path, if you could say that. But it started in college, and, you know, went to school. Like I said, I went to school for broadcast journalism, but it was at a time when, you know, technology was starting to change, it was starting to shift. So when I graduated college, it was 2005. So, you know, social media had just, like, really popped. Facebook had just really hit 2004, right? So then you go from Facebook, now you got YouTube, and then you got cameras now that, you know, you can get a little camera and create. And that's what I kind of created, and that's when I kind of got into a video production business, kind of doing that, and then boom, boom, boom. And then it kind of led to me, led to failures. Though it was a whole nother conversation. I mean, we can go anywhere, but it was so many different things and skills that I developed. And I always say, sometimes you got your skills in your life, and you have your purpose, and then you have your God-given gift and talent. How can I use all those three to go ahead and find my own fulfillment? So
how did you combat fear? Because I would imagine, as you're doing that, because we're in the same kind of age group, and I remember Facebook coming, and I was the person like, is there a game attached to this? Why do we need friends? What is this thing? But you took, you know, you dove into that space of content creation, and these are all the different possibilities. And sometimes when they look at people who are older, right, or people, you know, the generation even before us, there's like a fear factor. This is unusual. This is something that's new to me. I don't want to dive into it, versus I'm going to dive into it. So did you, one, have fear going this route? And if you did, how did you combat it?
Well, I think that's always, no matter who you are, I think it's always fear. Now, the fear level is the same for you and I. It's just, where's your level of comfortability at, right? And then I might be comfortable, like, you might not be. I'm not saying you, but you know,
I mean, I
generally,
wouldn't be,
right? Yeah, you wouldn't be. But say, you know, some people might not be comfortable speaking in front of people. You know, they might be uncomfortable. I might be comfortable speaking in front of people, but we still have a fear. My fear is just and speaking in front of people, but it might just be, you know, I have a fear of, am I saying the right words? Not that I'm afraid to talk in front of people, but am I coming off intelligent? Am I coming off the way I want to, right? And you can be very intelligent, can come off right, but you're scared of talking in front of people. So we all have our own personal fears. I still have my fears today. I was having a conversation the other day about, people think, oh, you're this, you're boom, you're not afraid. But I have my fears. But it just goes off where you're comfortable at. Everybody has their level of comfortability. I'm just trying to push myself to the next level, push through those fears. You know what I mean? Simple fear could just be walking up the street. I want to say hi to somebody. I like your sneakers. Boom, boom. So I call it fear factor test. And now that I'm just like, if I see somebody, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Good to see you. How you doing? How you doing, good brother? Because we live in a city where you can walk by somebody. It's like you mean mug them. Why can't you say hi?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Yeah.
Hey, those are all fear factors. So now when I'm hosting an event or doing something, I'm comfortable talking to whomever, a stranger. I'm not afraid of it. So it's just those fear factor tests that I'm kind of putting myself through to kind of go ahead and figure out how I can get to the next level.
So you kind of built yourself, you almost had a response to that fear, right? So if the fear came, you didn't let it stop you. You almost leaned into it and gave yourself, what do you call fear factor test?
Fear factor test, yes.
Now,
absolutely.
when did you come up with that?
It's a really funny story.
Okay, go for it.
I don't know if we can say it, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Long story short, long story longer. It was one time I was going to Planet Fitness, and first thing, I hate being afraid to do something. I hate that feeling, right? I hate feeling like a chump, a punk, whatever word you want to use to describe it. I hate it, right? Because it makes me feel small, and I don't want to feel small. I don't want to feel afraid to do something that's very simple, if you really think about it. So I learned this one fear factor test. I was going to Planet Fitness, and I, going to the gym, and I had my, you got your workout attire, boom, 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 and always wear like tights underneath, compression pants, right? And one time I had my compression pants, but I forgot my shorts, right? And I was like, oh my gosh.
Did you have a long shirt?
Huh?
Did you have a long shirt?
Didn't have a long shirt. You would have known. So I didn't have a long shirt, right? So I was like, man, I'm not going back home. But I was like, yo, why are you afraid to just go out there? And like people go all the time. They run in your tights.
That's true.
What are you going to go do, Blake? You know what I mean? There's so many factors we're not going to dive into. You know what I mean? Why someone might be afraid to go out there, especially coming from the community where we come from, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm comfortable with who I am. I know who I am. If you look at me like, why is he just out running with tights in a sweatshirt and blah, blah, blah. Like, and that's like I said, the world tells you that you can't do that. And I was like, forget that. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to go just like this. And what that taught me was to be comfortable in my own skin, not to be worried about what somebody's going to say. They don't know you. I don't care. Why am I concerned about what you think of me? I'm more concerned about what I think about myself, how I am. I have a goal, which is to get this workout in. What you think about it doesn't. I don't care. And that's what I had to tell myself. I don't care. I don't care. And once I did that, I was like, yo, I want to do these fear factor tests all the time. When I see someone I want to say hi to, I'm gonna say hi to them. Right? I just want to attack fear. And I kind of learned that from Will Smith. You know what I mean? Shout out to Will Smith. You know what I mean? Hopefully they had a little bit of fear when he smacked Chris Rock. But I don't know if we can cut that out, but keep that in there. You know what I mean? But I learned so much, all jokes aside, I learned so much from Will Smith. It was this compilation that somebody put on YouTube. And that was the first thing that taught me to start thinking differently. And he said, like, I hate being afraid of fear. I started attacking it. So I just started attacking fear. And now I'm at that next pivotal stage in my life of certain fears. And now I want to attack those fears so I can get to the next level. And then it's going to be a next level.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like you play Mario Brothers, but we're from the same area.
Yep.
It's levels to it, right? And then you learn so much from each level. I just want to keep getting to the level to where I can finally face King Kong, which is my mountaintop, and I want to defeat that. So I'm just trying to grow, trying to get to the next level.
So what would you say, because I think that's so powerful, and it is a mindset that needs to be learned and practiced. What would you say to students who are currently in middle school, especially our young boys, because I think it's a big cultural, sometimes it goes against the culture to have the thought frame or the level of thinking that you kind of have around just push past it. I'll run in tights at the Planet Fitness. I'm not going to worry about how I'm viewed by others. So how do you start to hone that mindset when you are in the space where your peers and your friends just mean so much to you and their opinions and their perspectives really impact you? How do you push past that at that stage?
And being honest, it's so tough.
Yeah.
It is, one of the toughest things that a middle schooler is going to have to figure out how to get through, right? Because you're so impressionable at that age, right? You want to be accepted. You're taught since a little baby to to be accepted. Yes, no, don't do this, don't do that. So, you know, being an individual, being comfortable with who you are, some things you might want to do as a kid, it might not be the right thing to do, but you're trying to learn, you're trying to figure it out, and you hear your parents telling you no, so you're thinking, I'm doing something wrong, let me do what's acceptable. Which acceptable from my peers. What is everybody else doing? Oh, everybody's doing TikTok, so I guess I got to do TikToks. Oh, what is this 6-7 stuff? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I
still don't know what that is.
You haven't figured it out.
I haven't figured it out. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, you want to fit in. And there's certain kids who are comfortable being an outsider, right? But that's very seldom.
Absolutely.
It's very seldom when you find a kid that's completely comfortable. I'm being honest, like it's so tough.
Yeah.
And I think what you can do as a middle school teacher is keep telling them, hey, all right, do exercises to where you want to figure out how I can get them to be themselves. I don't know, you know, that's your lane. You know what I mean? What exercises, what type of activities that I can do to teach people to feel comfortable in being who they are, right? Show them people to be comfortable with who they are.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
It is. It's challenging.
It's so tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we have these activities, can I reward them from being themselves?
Oh, I love that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we're all based off of, you know, the reward incentive. You know, like if I do a contest, if I say, yo, I'm gonna have a dance contest, nobody wants to dance. I got these Beats AirPods. Who wants to dance? And everybody wants to dance because they want, you know, that incentive. So how can I create an incentive based upon you being yourself?
I like that.
You know what I mean?
I like that a lot. And I think that level of intention when developing, because especially nowadays, there's so much conversation around proficiency and all of these different outcomes that sometimes it can be easy to get away from the conversation of developing young people to be successful adults because we're looking at so many other factors. But being intentional with creating opportunities for them to demonstrate their most authentic self and then celebrating it, that could work, especially with middle schoolers. Now, high schoolers, they're a little bit different, right? They're a little bit older. They're more in the space of trying to practice out the version that they want to become. So Blake in high school, how did that differ from where you were in middle school, and how did you continue to kind of move more into your authentic self from middle to high?
Gotcha. Honestly, I think, being honest, even looking back to it, I was always authentically myself. Like I said, it's very seldom that you get kids who are authentically themselves in middle school. I was even to this day, I was always the type of person who was cool with everybody because I love people.
Yeah.
Now that's what I'm saying, because I think that's a huge part with me kind of being authentically myself, because I do love people, no matter if they are the smartest person in the classroom, the quote unquote weirdest person in the classroom, or the quote unquote behavioral we need to figure out person in the classroom. I was always cool with everybody because I always looked at it like I just love people. And I never judge, even from middle school. When I was a kid, I never judged people. I don't judge people to this day because everybody has their own thing. So I think, I'm saying, speaking just for me, going from middle school to high school, I was authentically myself. And I think I was able to be cool and be able to matriculate and be cool with all sides. Like I went to Brandywine High School, which was, at the time, it was predominantly white. But I was cool on all sides with everyone. I ended up getting like homecoming king. So to get homecoming king in predominantly, like, you have to be cool with all sides.
Absolutely.
To be able to go ahead and get those votes. I was cool with the teachers. I was cool with the principal. I was all these type of things. And I think that just came from my personality. But as I kind of grew a little bit older, and part of it could have been, I didn't know I was a people pleaser. Subconsciously. You know what I mean? I wanted people to like me. You know what I'm saying? And I think that kind of led to the personality that I do have, which is pros and cons to that. It's pros and cons to not being a people pleaser.
Yeah.
You know, that's a whole nother conversation. But I think just being able to matriculate through high school, I don't know if I answered your question.
You did.
But just being authentically myself, I think I was always that. And I think I just been blessed to be that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm talking too much.
No, I really appreciate that. And I'm going to do a quick pivot because I'm thinking back to this lens of content creation and non-traditional career. So if there and when there are students who are currently sitting in someone's middle school or someone's high school and they're thinking about, what do I want to do? What are some things I want to go into as an older, you know, in terms of my career? what advice would you have for them if they're interested in going the same path that you've taken?
Well, first and foremost, I would tell any kid is I have this thing called failure is dope. And that's where look, that's huge for me. So I want to travel around the world teaching people why failure is dope. Getting kids to look at failure differently. First thing I would tell them is don't be afraid to fail, right? Because that's where the information is. That's where the knowledge is. How can I get you to be courageous in that area, right? And I always say to like I said, I'm a Section 8 kid. I grew up in the hood. So say a kid who is not afraid to, I see it all the time downtown. You're not afraid to wheelie a bicycle all the way downtown, not worried about being hit, which is dangerous.
Yes.
You're not afraid of that, but you're afraid to, stand up in front of the class, right? Maybe read, maybe do certain things that, you're afraid to do, which actually is probably good for you. And I'm trying to get them to look at that. Don't be afraid to that because you actually have the courage. If you can do this, just imagine if you use that same courage in different direction, right? Yeah. So that's first and foremost. Don't be afraid to fail. That's what I would tell kids. But if whatever path they want to go down, I tell kids all the time, if you want to go to the NBA, NFL, you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, it doesn't matter what it is. If that's what you want to do, then be very aggressive with it. Be very assertive with it, right? No matter what it is. And also adapt to the times. Like, okay, so we're living in the social media world. Now we're heading to an AI world. And some people don't I'm not getting into it. Well, you're going to get left. That's the way of the world. It is what it is. And some people didn't want to get on social media. I'm not doing this social media.
Well, I talk about myself not wanting to get to Facebook.
There you go. Yeah. But you have to be able to look at the landscape as where is the world headed? Just ask questions. Where is it headed? That's where we're headed. Right? Now, if they want to get into that lane of being an influencer, I'm not going to be mad. If you want to be an influencer, okay, let me just tell you, here are the statistics. Being an influencer is almost the same as trying to be an athlete. Nowadays, because everybody, quote unquote, is an influencer. Yeah. They're using social media. All right. Just like being an athlete. Now, are you going to work on your craft? Are you going to dedicate it? Are you going to go ahead and become, put the work in? It's like an athlete. Nowadays, these kids are training. You seen in one video where the baby had a diaper?
Yes.
And was dribbling the basketball?
Literally out the womb.
Out the womb. Had ball skills. And everybody was like, well, he ball skill trained, but it's not potty trained. But I was like, kind of got a point there. You know what I mean?
First things first.
For first things first. But are you willing to put in that work? Are you willing to go ahead and go and film yourself and film in front of people, or you're not afraid to do that, or you're not afraid of what your peers are going to say, and kind of teach them that's the way you want to go? I'm okay with it. But just be very assertive and aggressive with it. Work on your craft. Don't be afraid to fail, and just go down that path. They kind of know what a direction, they are the future. Yeah. So whatever they're doing that's where the world is going. And they're adapting to AI. Yeah. You know what I mean? Certain careers, it's just back in the day, you had GM. Once the world started evolving, those jobs started to go away. Yep. And now it was the next wave. Okay, now we have this, the internet boom. Boom. Then Silicon Valley, boom. What's the next one? Boom, boom. You just got to adapt and try to figure out a way to kind of grow with it. So that's what I would say.
So you gave a statistic that I don't know I've heard before around being an influencer is now just the likelihood is the same as being a professional athlete. Would you consider yourself an influencer?
I don't.
Really?
I don't. It might sound crazy. I said I would never call myself an influencer. I never wanted to call myself a motivational speaker as well. Go talk to kids. I don't. Now that could just be my personal bias of saying being an influencer because I think I'm just being me. Yeah. And just putting it out there for the world. I'm not necessarily trying to sell anything. I'm just being me. And I think that was before social media. I always was me. I always was me before social media came. Social media came and I'm like, okay, let me jump on that wave. And I'm just being myself. And believe it or not, I'm going on a cruise, and it's actually a solo cruise. It's actually a retreat for me because I want to go ahead on that cruise and really dive into what are my fears, where I want to go next, and a lot of stuff we were just talking about, right? And I want to go ahead and quote unquote not be an influencer, but okay, that's the wave. How can I use this quote unquote influence or whatever word, however you want to describe it, to now use that for me, attack that, grow me, grow my business, and grow the craft. Right? Because it's really easier for me to create content. I can create content like that. That's just, I can do it, but I don't do it unless it's for like work or something like that. I can pop and that's just something that's like, it goes back to broadcast journalism, what I went to school for. I can create that easy, quick, fast, but I haven't been doing it. Going back to that fear factor.
Yeah.
Right? Why ain't you doing it? What's the fear? What's holding you up, brother?
Do you have an answer for that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So when it comes to that, just getting to the next level of who I am, I've always been afraid to become a certain type of person. Right? Going back to like I said, I didn't know I was a people pleaser. Right? I cared about other people's feelings before my own. Right? And I also know to become great at something, for you to become great at what you are and what you do, or to get to that level where you want to get to, you have to be a certain type of person. Yeah. Anyone who's great at what they do, I mean great, not good, not average, great at what they do, most of the time is misunderstood. Right? And most of the time people, it goes back to the saying, would you rather be happy with yourself and everyone else not like you, or would you rather make everyone else happy but you not like you? Yeah. Right? Because when people who are used to who you are, once you become someone different, because of who they're used to, they're not going to like the new you, because they know you're accustomed to who you are. Yeah, they put you in a certain box. They put you in a certain box. And even if you're because now you might be setting boundaries. Yeah. Right? And also to become great, you have to have a certain type of mindset. Like I always tell people, what's the price of ambition? What's the price of greatness? Just look at Michael Jordan. You ever watch that his documentary? Oh, just look at it. Anyone who's great, ask yourself, what's the price that they had to pay? And I wasn't willing to pay that price because I was, like I said, I didn't know subconsciously that I was a people pleaser. Right? I didn't know that I was concerned about making people upset at me. And now, like I said, to me, and also to be not to come off as someone, you hear it all the time. You see people all the time. They get to a certain level. Like you got to be certain ways to get to a certain level of greatness. Absolutely. It comes with the territory, because if not, people just going to take advantage of it. Right? And it's like, nah. And it's like me trying to learn how to navigate that space, but still be me, but knowing I have to cross over to that other side, because that other side is, I call it the beautiful monster. Right? Because you're going to have to become a certain type of person. Yeah. I'm saying for me. Yeah. Other people might not be. I'm just saying for me. And I've always been afraid to become that.
What is that certain type of person to you?
The beautiful monster? Okay. So for an example, the beautiful monster, say for an example, is very assertive. Very, I call it respectfully aggressive. Okay. Or that is saying, let me see if I can give a great example of that, right? And it's like, say we're gonna do this podcast, right? Boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna be myself or whatever. But say it might be like, okay, I'm coming to do the podcast, but I need this, that, and third, boom, boom. Because if I think I'm gonna come off a certain way, maybe that's a bad example, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Like I always was afraid to come off as, that guy's mean.
Yeah. Is that the people pleasing still inside of you a little bit, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was afraid of that. And it's like now it's like, but also just being like, going back to the ambition. Like I want to be ambitious. If you was to ask me, am I ambitious? Am I at that level now? I would tell you no. Like I hold myself to a different standard. I am nowhere near where I could be and should be in my mind, right? So I always ask people like the percentage. You're like, I would say, matter of fact, I'm gonna ask you this question, right? Based off the potential that you have been given, right, for your life. You know your potential. You know what you're capable of doing. And 100% being the highest of your potential. And, of course, 0 being where it is. What do you think your percentage of you using your potential of where you are right now? How much in your life?
So I would probably not go higher than like 50%.
I agree.
In response to that, yeah.
Mine's like 35, 40. And think about it. You've been able to get to where you are just using 50%. Just imagine if you did 75.
Wow.
Now let's get to 80, 85. Now, in order for you to get to that 80, 85, you're going to have to become a different person. Yeah. you're going to have to be someone different than who you have been your entire life. So you need to unwire and do all this stuff. And the body, what happens is your mind, your body, it goes into survival mode. When you're trying to change anything, even if it's for the better, it wants to go back to where it's comfortable. So becoming this monster, I call it the beautiful monster, right? It's like the Beauty and the Beast. People are afraid of the Beauty and the Beast, but it's really a great guy under there. And it takes for that one, they go into, that type of stuff. And it's like, it's still a great guy. I'm still going to be a great guy, but I need to become a beast to get to that level of potential. Michael Jordan doesn't become Michael Jordan by being a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's a beast. He's a monster. You can even throw Steph Curry. I'm using a lot of sports, but Steph Curry, he's a great guy. But on the court, he is an assassin. He has a certain type of mindset. You have to, right? Because I'm gonna get you, or you're gonna get me. It's competition.
Yeah.
Same thing if you want to go to the podcast world, right? You got to be a monster to get to that level.
Yeah.
You got to be aggressive, and certain people sometimes you're gonna be misunderstood, but you're like, I gotta get it. Now, are you willing to do all that to get to that level? That's what I said. Are you willing to pay that price? Right? And that's going against who you have been probably in your entire life to get to that level.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And that's what it's been tough for me.
Yeah.
Like I said, because I love positivity. You know what I mean? I love that people like me.
Yeah.
Am I willing to cross over to be like, people be like, I don't like that guy.
Yeah.
And I just it took me a time to make peace with that. Right? Like, all right, cool. This is what we're going to do, because doing it the way I've been doing it, I'm going to just keep getting the same results.
Yeah. It only gets you to a certain level.
Which makes me very upset internally, right? Very sad internally. I don't like it because I know I have it in me. You know, when people say you got that dog in you, people say they got that dog in you. And I can't say it the way I want to say, got that dog in me, baby. I got that dog in me. Like, I want that. Yeah. I want that dog in me to come out, because I learned from a competitive perspective. Like, I played sports growing up. When I'm competing and I got that mindset and I'm gonna dominate you, like, I'm gonna dominate you, and I get the results that I want. But I do become a different person in that process. Yeah. I'm talking trash, going at you, blah blah blah. But as soon as the game is over, I'm like, yo, what's up, bro? It's all love, boom boom. But in that moment, I become a completely different person. Yeah. Now, and now I know within that lane, I know probably when we're on the court, some guys might not like me. Like, forget that guy, talking trashy, blah blah blah. Now he might not like me in life after that. Yeah, I don't know, but we're competing on the court. Now, how can I translate that to life? Now, I know some people are not going to like me. Same thing. Certain people are going to understand it. Yeah, people who are at that level, they're going to understand it. You understand what I'm saying? It's like when people say, don't be hard on yourself. I will never say that. I say I will never put down myself. Yeah, I'm never going to talk down to myself. But I am going to be hard on myself. Yeah. Have you ever heard somebody who got to a certain level say, don't be hard on yourself? I have never heard nobody at a certain level say, don't be hard on yourself. You're right. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Yes, I'm going to be hard. Why wouldn't I? Yes.
So you referenced Failure is Dope.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to me about that. Is that a program? Is that, like, what is Failure is Dope?
So Failure is Dope is two things. One thing is a mindset, and the second thing is a process. Okay. So I developed it. It was inspired, and two things kind of inspired it. It was inspired first and foremost. So I have video production business when I first came out of college, and I was working at Dell State for a little bit, and then I took a leap of faith real quickly. Took a leap of faith and did my own video production company full time, like back in 2011, right? Wow. So just like I said, technology was changing. You can buy these cameras. You can get this. Boom, boom. I know a lot of people. I was doing weddings. I was doing this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I started my own business. But I had a lot of failures along the way, right? And then along those failures, right, of course, they put you on a certain type of mindset, right? You get sad. You go through depression. You go through all these things, right? And I learned a lot of lessons along that journey. And Meek Mill came in with an album. It was called Wins and Losses at the time. Now I'm a type of person where I soak up stuff like a sponge. I'm getting knowledge. I'm getting information. I like to study people and study the world. So I was studying people and I was studying the world, and I was kind of inspired by that. It was initially called Failures and Goals, because I said you got to go through the failures in order to get to the goals, right? And then remember, God is dope. And when that whole thing came out, so it kind of translated to Failure is Dope, right? Because like if I said God is dope. Depending. I'm not going to say anybody's religion, right? But most people are like, yeah, God is dope. But that don't mean that God have to discipline you sometimes, right? Go through certain things, and they have to push you through certain things, et cetera, et cetera. But you ain't never going to say it's not dope.
Yeah.
Right? You ain't never going to say God is not dope. Same thing with failure. Right? It pushes you. You go through those lessons and you learn a lot. And the reason why I say it's a mindset first is because if I'm not afraid to fail, because failure is where the information is, et cetera, then that's how you grow, by failing. Now, I always say it's a process as well, because how do I go from being my failures to becoming dope and everything in between? Right? So it's learning those lessons and not being afraid to fail. When you start doing a podcast, first start doing your first interview, you learned.
Yeah.
You might have failed at like, I forgot this, I didn't get that, or I didn't do this, but it was information.
Yep.
I always say, how do you become your greatest self? Failure teaches you that, right? Same thing with sports, same thing with in any genre, any career path. As long as you're not afraid to fail, you will be amazing. If you look at, just look at, how do we find the cure for COVID? They had to, like a scientist has to fail. They want to fail because that's where the information is. Because I need to learn what's going to work, what's not going to work. But they learn that by test after test after test after test. Yeah. So do you use the same concept with yourself? I want to put myself in test after test. I want information. How do I become a doctor? You had to get information. You had to learn. You had to take tests. Boom, 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 boom. You're continuously learning. And you might be failing along the way, but you're learning and growing along the way. I had this one thing called wake up, fail, learn, grow, repeat. Right? Because how do you grow? By learning. How do you learn? By failing. As long as you get the opportunity to wake up, just repeat that process. Keep growing, keep growing. So that is my baby. I'm going to, we talked about that potential, right? Yeah. I'm going to create that. I want to be traveling around the world, teaching people why failure is dope. You know what I mean? Like we did this presentation at Barclays, and we're talking about, it was 50 of their senior leaders, and I'm getting through to them. And that's how I said, oh no, I know we got something. Yeah. I know we got it. Now, which I'm going on this retreat to do. Yeah. Yep. Is put it all together, connect the dots, right? So, that's it.
I love that. And it's so interesting. So my son is a freshman at DSU.
State! My bad. Shout out to Dell State in the building. We love y'all, all right?
And he referenced how, I believe you were there for Deep Day.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you have done a good amount of work in this kind of higher ed, because I know you're very involved in HBCU Week. You're very involved with Dell State. What has that experience been, seeing and speaking and encouraging students in college?
First of all, I love it. I'm not even going to lie to you. Like, I knew since I was going back to middle school, I knew that I had a purpose, and my purpose was to help people. Most purposes normally deal around helping people, helping each other in some way, form, or fashion. I don't. That's just my mindset. So being able to go back to Dell State, working through HBCU Week, giving these kids energy, inspiring them. Going back to what I said in high school, the first time I seen Jamar doing a pep rally, I said, I want to do that. Yeah. So when I go back to Dell State, when I do HBCU Week, some kid is looking up to me and saying, I want to do that. Or he's inspiring me to do something else. Or I love his energy. Oh, he told me about a college. Oh, whatever. Not even that I did it. Even being involved with HBCU Week, right? From that perspective, shout out to Ashley Christopher, who's the CEO and founder of that thing. And that's her journey. And that's just me being able to come along and help that of what she's doing, right? That's my part, right? We're talking about everybody has their part, right? That's my part in that organization. When I go back to Dell State, like you said, your son is in Deep Day. The relationships that I built, long story short, I wasn't even supposed to graduate high school. That's a whole nother story. Actually, I didn't graduate, but I did graduate. Don't look into it. Don't look into it. They're going to research that. No, I graduated. But when I got to Dell State, that was a second chance for me. They gave me a second chance. And I said, I'm never turning back. I lied to you not. The first semester, first year, I'm on Dean's list. You know what I mean? In high school, I was always intelligent, but I didn't apply myself. I didn't know how to. I wasn't taught how to. Right? And that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah. I wasn't taught how to apply myself. That wasn't have that pressure on me, like, this is what you're doing, blah, 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 blah. Like I said, I'm a Section 8 kid. So a lot of us in those environments and neighborhoods, we might have parents that might not know necessarily how to push us. You know what I mean? Because they might not have been pushed, right? You know, we talk about breaking generational curses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So going back and giving back to Del State, I just look at it, that's just a great opportunity for me. Like, it's my time to pay it forward. My football coach taught me this. Sometimes people build roads for other people to travel. People who came before me at Del State, they built those roads for me to travel. Now it's my job and my turn to build the roads for the next to travel. And they need to build a road for the next to travel. We need to teach our kids that. Absolutely. Right? Because we're starting to lose tradition, et cetera. And it's probably like my purpose to kind of go back to keep that school pride in at the university. Because nowadays kids are, you know, everybody's so cool.
Super cool.
You know what I mean? So it's like, no, I you know what? I know these traditions. You know, I need to teach them this. I need to teach them to chant. They need to know these things because these are traditions.
Yeah.
Not only that, like teaching them who's who on campus. You know what I mean? You need to know what this building is, who it was, et cetera, et cetera. If we do not pass it down, it's going to be lost. It's like in certain families, like people are like, yo, you don't know who your cousin is.
Yeah.
Because a lot of what happened to the family reunions? Exactly. They ain't like they used to be. You know what I mean? We're talking about traditions in the black culture that are not being passed down. And then if you can get some young kids in this generation to be like, no, we need to go ahead and fix that. So I think it's just my job to fix it and help it.
That's so powerful. And it's so right now we have this group, and it's us, right? The millennials who are now becoming that group of people who are responsible for continuing cultural norms, for teaching, for going back. You reference a lot how you had this sense of self. In third grade, you had that moment when you heard from the sports analysts. In middle school, you really knew yourself. What contributed to the wind beneath your wings? What surrounded you? What environment surrounded you to kind of encourage you to be the best version of yourself?
Yes, great question. I'm going to go back to this. Hands down, if it was not for H. Fletcher Brown's Boys and Girls Club, if it was not for that Boys and Girls Club, I probably wouldn't have made it down the path that was going down, right? Because the Boys and Girls Club was right around the corner from where I lived. It was a safe haven first and foremost. It's where I learned sports and all that stuff. It's where I cultivated relationships, friendships, etc. But also at the Boys and Girls Club, that's where they had other activities such as smart moves, right? And it was just, I remember just one white guy, and I'm using this as a frame of reference when I say his name was Mr. Bud, right? Now we're talking Browns Boys and Girls, which is most little black and brown boys and girls, right? And it was, I remember I was playing basketball downstairs. We was hooping. And I came upstairs and I was like, who's the white guy? Because normally if you say white guy at the Boys and Girls Club, I'm being, being honest, he was like, what's going on? Who's that guy? Look, he got money. Yeah, he looks, you know what I mean? It was Mr. Bud. But they were playing chess. He was teaching young brown boys and girls to play chess. And I just went over there and was guiding them more. And I was like, what you guys doing? He's like, we playing chess. I ain't know nothing about chess. He was like, he gives $1 to whoever wins the game. I was like, what? And then I was like, all right, well, I want to play. I want to learn. And they taught me how to play chess, right? But the reason why I bring up that story was so important because that learning chess taught me how to think. Yeah. It taught me how to have the foresight, how to think 4 moves ahead, how to see what's coming, how to think what the other person's thinking, how to maneuver, how to counteract, how to boom, boom, boom. It taught me so much about life. That's why you always hear so many metaphors about, chess is life and et cetera, because it is. You need to be able to think 4 moves ahead. How can I set this up? Move this way. What I'm thinking is coming. Do that in the third. But Browns Boys and Girls Club, that chess, sports, it all came together. So me learning how to think, me learning sports, the friendship relationships that built that community, and you had people who actually cared. All that was under one roof. Yeah. I didn't know how important it was at the time, but it actually made me who I was. I say that all the time. So if I ever hit the lottery or get big time rich, I'm going to create or give back for sure to the Boys and Girls Club because that saved not only me, so many of my friends. Like I said, we grew up in that neighborhood where we don't have extracurricular activities, right? The Boys and Girls Club was that safe haven. And that hands down helped me become who I am today.
How do we create that now? Because we still have, Boys and Girls Club is still in existence. We have a number of community organizations, and, we're not seeing the impact the way that we did 20 years ago, 30 years ago. What do you think is causing that? And, obviously, I'm sure, it's so many different ways that you can respond to this, but what is causing those community organizations to not have that same type of impact? Or are they having it and we're just not taking note of it?
I think they are still having it, but I think, I learned this from, I was an admissions counselor at Delaware State University for 1 year. And this was right when, like I said, social media was starting to hit. So we're talking 2010-ish. Social media had already hit, but Instagram was coming. Video content was starting to come. It was only you could do like 15 seconds. It was Vine videos and all that stuff. And like I said, I was doing video production. I was trying to tell them, like, that's going back to chess. That's where the world is going. But what I used to try to tell them when it came to recruiting, let's stop trying to get the kids to come to us. Let's go to where they are. Whatever our information is, let's go to where they are. And where they are is on social media. Yeah. So we're talking about how can we create what we created back in the day is let's stop trying to get them to come to us. Let's go to where they are. Yeah. Where are they? They're on social media. They're on TikTok. Let's move with the times. Yeah. Let's figure out where they are and let's get through to them that way. If they're going to be creating TikToks, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, let's build something together. Let's go ahead and create. Oh, you guys are into that? Okay, cool. Let's come together. Let's do it in the third. They'll be into it. They want to do stuff. They want to be creative, quote unquote. They want to go viral. You use that. Y'all want to be influencers? Yeah. Okay, let's be influencers. Let's go ahead. All right, you do a dance joint? Okay, a little dance track? Okay. All right, can we create a dance track that's actually catchy at the same time? You see teachers do it and you see it all the time. Let me go ahead and, all right, I know these young kids are listening to hip hop. Yeah. Let me teach them ABCs through hip hop. Let's go through where they are. Right? Some people might be like, why are you using a rap song? Blah, blah, blah. This is where they are. Yeah. That kid is always going to remember that song. And if that helps them matriculate and learn, use it. Yep. Because they're impressionable. It does not until they get to a certain age where they start thinking for themselves and, the individuality starts to come out more, which is a little bit after college, right? And through high school, they're trying to figure it out still. But let's go to where they are and go ahead and create those same type of environments, right? People say all the time, you always hear, our folks say, these kids don't go outside no more. Yep. They don't play. We used to play tag and do all that stuff. Yeah, you're right. Okay, maybe they can create a game. To tag on Instagram. I don't know. Yeah. Right? Let's get them. What are we doing? Yep. Are you complaining about the problem or are you doing something about it? Yeah. Yes. Of course they're different. You were different than your parents. It's always people like, yo, back in my day, of course, times have always changed. You know what I mean? So it's like adapt to how many, just take your parents, right? Let's take your parents' parents. And that was at a time where you can see women are running the world now. At the time, they didn't see that. Yeah. You tell me you want to be a doctor. A doctor? What are you talking about? You ever watch it? Remember Living Color? Remember the old skit? How many jobs did you make? How many jobs you got? I was this. I was that. I got 5 jobs. And one kid came. And he was like, "What do you do?" And he was like, "I'm a doctor." You one job? They didn't understand. Yeah, yeah. The times were changing. The times are changing.
And we have to change with the times.
You better adapt or get left. Yeah. You want to know how we're going to get to them? Let's be creative. We're living in a creative world now. Be creative. Be innovative. Be innovative in how you teach. How do you connect with them? Yep. You know what I mean? Those are the teachers and the leaders of the world who are moving. Yes. Those are the movers and shakers. I love to see, all the time little videos, TikTok videos or Instagram, they go viral. These teachers are adapting. Like, you ever seen the one video where the teachers are dressing like the kids? Yes. And it's funny. It is. Right? But the kids now get to see, when they see those videos, they're laughing, but now they see how they really are. Now you're just giving them a mirror. Yeah. And they're going like, oh, that's how we really look. Yeah, yeah. Y'all do want to change that? That's how they dress. We used to wear baggy clothes
and look crazy.
Baggy. I look back at my old high school. I was like, what? We used to wear a baggy white tee, 2 big jeans and Timbs. Yep. And Air Ones.
So times change, and we have to change with it.
Yeah, that's just how they dress.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
My fault.
Thank
Did
you.
I talk too much?
Well, no, you're fine.
Did she say, well, no? She said, well, no.
No, you actually gave a lot of just powerful information that I think is helpful for me as an educator in this space, helpful for other educators, helpful for students. So you covered the gamut.
Well, can I ask you a question?
Okay, last
One question. One question. Like you said, you're an educator.
Okay.
We talk about failures, though. What has been your biggest failure in that arena?
I have failed in almost every job I've been in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Like, seriously, every time it's a new role, I have to fail first. Mm-hmm. I try to recover quickly, but failure definitely happens first. Is that enough?
Who was it? What was the biggest one? You want to get the details?
They gave me the signal. So
they gave you signal?
Did you just
look. See, look, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to talk about these Nah, okay. You ain't got to talk about it.
So, you know what? So this is what I will say. Or let me think of one. My first time as a school leader, as an assistant principal out in Pennsylvania, I was so bad at my job. I came straight out the classroom as a teacher and went into being a first-year assistant principal. I thought I was going to have a training space. I didn't. And they promoted me quickly. And I was horrible. My first survey responses, horrible. My principal at the time gave me a very prescriptive, I think now that I look back, I'm like, was that an improvement plan? I feel like that was real detailed with deadlines. But he gave me a very clear prescription on what to do. And I carried that evaluation around with me for the next 10 years. I was only there for 5. I carried it around with me for the next 10 years. And I would judge myself based off of the feedback that he gave me. So it was the hardest feedback I had ever received. I went home and I cried. And I remember being like, I'm not going to cry over no job. But I went home and I cried. But then I dried my tears and I applied it and I was able to move forward.
See, look, failure's dope. Like that pain pushed you to become better.
Absolutely.
You had to go through it. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's where the information is. Go ahead. My fault. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to wrap up.
Wrap it up.
Thank you so much, Mr. Blake Saunders, Blake the Brain. And that is it for Raising the Bar with Dr. O.